Deach is making the comment here: throughout the history of college football, has any head coach ever been handed a better program than Ryan Day when he took over Ohio State? And then he's got a number of other comments, basically, that Ryan Day has underachieved. So do you rate and evaluate the coach based on what he inherited, or do you rank and rate him just based on, okay, well, the board's clear, and now we evaluate you based on the way we would evaluate any coach?
I got one. Larry Coker at Miami inherited something there, won the championship in his first year, and then got all the way to the championship game against OSU the second year. So I'd say that's a pretty good one. Probably, again, circumstances like Miami, back there in the 80s, they changed coaches, what was it? They went like Schnellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, Erickson, blah, 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 through 3 or 4 coaches and several national championships. So, yeah,
Those coaches did. You could argue Lincoln Riley from Bob Stoops.
Yeah. Although, yeah, no doubt.
I would say Urban Meyer handed Ryan Day a program whose quarterbacks were Tate Martell, Matthew Baldwin, and somebody else. So if Ryan Day takes over that program and doesn't bring his own quarterback, how highly are we viewing that program? Ryan Day's first 4 years have been better than Urban Meyer's last 4 years at Ohio State. The only difference is Urban Meyer was 4-0 against Michigan, and Ryan Day was 1-2. Michigan chose not to play in 2020, as we all know. The teams have been better than the 15, 16, 17, 18 teams. The 19 team is better than, I'd say, anybody but I would have very high confidence of the 19 team playing the 2014 team. But also that's a team that was handed to Ryan Day from Urban Meyer, with the exception of Justin Fields. I think you're supposed to hand things off better than what you got them. So congratulations to Ryan Day for having that happen to him. But also Ryan Day has brought in so much of the talent. And again, you can just, what is the record of Ohio State with Tate Martell or Matthew Baldwin starting in 2019?
Not very good.
That was Urban Meyer. That's when he left Ryan Day. And so Ryan Day had to go fix it.
I just don't think people would be really enthusiastic seeing an offense in today's football that is all predicated by read option, mostly Q run type of situations. It's, third in the world, and we're going to have to, we don't feel comfortable throwing the ball, and we're going to have to try and get it on the ground. I certainly think that Urban Meyer's personality and his record against Michigan and having a national championship, et cetera, certainly do a lot for his press clippings and the memory that people have. But then I think that when people sit there and start talking extensively about Urban Meyer, need to remember 2015 Michigan State game and some things along those lines. There certainly were some shortcomings. And, for the issues that Ryan Day has had, he hasn't been whacked by Purdue. He hasn't been whacked by Iowa. I mean, there haven't been those.
Or Clemson.
Yeah. So, in the year that they got just dismantled by Alabama in the national championship game, half the team was out with COVID. And I don't know if it would have necessarily changed the outcome of the game. It certainly would have changed how things went down. That was a really good Alabama team. And when you lose Trey Sermon on the opening series, et cetera, I just warn people to be careful of what they're wishing for, because there are not many Nick Sabans out there in the world that have been able to do it in, multiple scenarios out there. There are not a lot of coaches that have been able to do that. And yes, it sucks losing to Michigan twice. I get it. When I was an undergrad, they were 0-4-1 against Ohio State, or against Michigan. I get that. Yeah, whatever. I understand it, but this team has been wildly successful. They're still, still a top 5, top 7 national recruiting class with only 20 players signed. There was no margin for error. Whoever the lowest kid was couldn't be dropped from the equation, because most of the equations go out to 20. So I don't know. It's going to be a long off season if all we can talk about is Ryan Day's perceived shortcomings.
And just real quick, people were tired of the running quarterback. They were so tired of it at the end of Urban Meyer's tenure and so was Urban Meyer, kind of to go and get Ryan Day and then commit to Dwayne Haskins. So like the idea that they needed somebody to take them to the next step in terms of a quarterback, because JT Barrett wasn't able to do it. And there's, I don't know, do people forget how upset they were that Ohio State couldn't throw the ball? And now that they can't throw the ball, they're upset that the quarterback won't run the ball. I think you just want to beat Michigan. If you just beat Michigan, everything is so much better. And nobody knows that better and more than Ryan Day.